How
I got
how's
the funk
everything?
over
How you
there.
feeling?
Oh, how am I feeling? I
March almost
feel
over already.
I feel almost like a genius of sorts. Like I feel like when I say stuff, it happens. You know what I mean? And you see what I got on? I got the purple and all
I
that. You know
see
what I
it.
mean?
I see
Because you know
it.
what happened last night. Because you know what happened last night.
What happened last night?
The, the Sacramento Kings clinched the playoff spot. They're in. They're in. Light the beam from here to the sky to the moon. I called
Gotcha.
it. And it's like, it wasn't a direct hit, yo. It wasn't a direct hit because I said via playing, they're even better than I thought they would be. They're even better.
Yes.
Yo, shout out to the Sacramento Kings, man. 17-year playoff drought ended. And now, real quick before we get started, because we got a big show.
Yep.
Listen, anybody saying that they're going to get rolled by Golden State if they're sick, they can barely win on the road, or by
Facts.
the Lakers, or by the Clippers, or by any of those teams. And all those teams are like they got names, but the Kings have a team. The
Yeah.
Kings have a team. The acquisition of Herter, the draft pick of Keegan Murray, bringing in Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are two
Yep.
all-star players. Like
Yep.
everything came together for them. Harrison Barnes. I said all this back in November, and now look where we are. They about to have
Yes.
50 wins, maybe. Like, bro, I'm telling you, when I see things, I see it, and I saw it in that team. They were 7-6 when I called that on Trick or Trust. 7-6.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Shout
You
out to the
called it
Kings, man.
early.
Like the beam. Like the beam. Don't quote me, boy, because I ain't said. That's what it is.
Yes,
Easy
light the
English.
beam, light the beam. We've been on the Kings bandwagon all year. They just again at 7-6, like you said, back in October, November, like
We
there was
liked
something
it.
about that team. There was something about
Yeah,
that team, and
they could
right now that
score. They had just put like 140 on
bro,
Brooklyn
yes,
with KD and Kyrie. Remember, that's what we were talking
yep,
about. It. We were like, there's something going on in there. Like
yep,
they just put 140 on Brooklyn, and KD and Kyrie were healthy. It was like
bro.
something was crazy.
Yeah, man. 3 seed right
Yeah,
now, and I'm
yeah,
with you. We're gonna
yeah.
get to it a little later in the show, but yeah, I mean, 3 seed right now. I think they're matched up with Golden State, and yeah, I mean, could Golden State win? Yeah, like of course,
Sure,
but Sacramento, they've proven at the 3 seed to be a very good
they're
team.
legit.
Yes.
They're legit. Yeah, they're legit. And I just barely trust the Warriors. If they didn't win the championship just a year ago, forget about the other four,
Mhm.
or the other three. If they just didn't win one last year and they weren't like so close removed to it, I would immediately eliminate them from like
I feel you
even
on that.
really being in championship consideration because
I feel you on
you
that.
have to win on the road
A
to get to a
necessity.
championship. Never,
Yeah.
never mind win it.
Yep. Yep. You got to win at least two on the road,
At least
Or
two.
at least one on the road, but two on the road.
Yeah. If you don't want every series going 6, 7 games, you
Yeah,
gotta win one on the road.
exactly. Exactly.
You'll be dead by the time you get to the finals. He's going that route.
Man. Um, so my guy Price started it off with a bang. We had to get into the
Had to
Kings,
get into it.
light the beam. But for those who don't know, my name is Johnell. This is my guy Matt Price, Cash Walk-In, and this is Heat Check powered by Designated Report. What I will say before we jump into it, that light on the side of your face, man, it's looking good, man. You got the natural light
good?
in
I was
there. It
gonna
looks
say.
good, man.
I was like, yo, the blinds were open and I didn't realize. I'm like, dang, should I close them? I'm like, yeah, let's leave it. I got an aura around me today. The
Yeah.
beam is being lit. Because the
Yo,
beam is lit. It's
yeah.
shining over here. Also, the
So
Knicks picked up a tiebreaker over Miami last night without Julius Randle.
yeah, what's going is he all right?
No structural damage is what we're hearing so far, but it's just a bad sprain. He rolled up, he grabbed the rebound and came down
Yep.
on Bam's foot.
Yep.
I was like, oh no. It's like I've been talking all this junk about him, yo. And here we are. We have to go to the playoffs. The Iron Man. He's like one of four players who have played every single game this season. And then that happened. I was like, dang, yo. I'm gonna just shut up now, yo. Please come back. Please come back.
I'm sure. I mean, no structural damage with an ankle. It's really going to be pain tolerance, and I
Yeah,
mean, he'll rest through the end of the regular season, and
right.
he'll be on the court if
Yeah.
he's not in too much pain. So,
He's been bouncy this year, though. Like, that's what I'm
he
worried
has
about, the
been.
lift. He's been getting dunking on people and stuff. So I'm worried about that. I wanted to see some of that in the playoffs. That
Mhm.
real, like, hard downhill driving and just getting up over people. But hey, we're gonna see what we can do. We're gonna work through it. We're gonna work
Absolutely,
through it. Got to get him and
absolutely.
Brunson healthy. I need them as close. Get them to 93.7%. That's what I need. Just as close to 100
That's
as
a
you can get.
very
Nobody's at
specific
100.
amount.
Yeah, they got to be over 92%.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So we're gonna jump into it. Like you said, we do have a lot that we want to get to. And the first thing that we want to touch on is Luka Doncic. Last week,
Oh boy.
I think it was post game interview. He was getting interviewed by the media, and basically Luka was like, "I'm not having fun. Like usually you see me, I'm on the court, I'm smiling, I'm having a good time, and just the joy in playing the game isn't there for him right now." I know in our group chat we talked about it briefly, and initially I was just like, "Is this about Kyrie?" And kind of the consensus is that's part of it, but it seems to be a culmination of a bunch of things. Um, right now, the Mavs are on the outside looking in. I think they're the 11 seed currently. The Kyrie and Luka experiment has not really meshed the way a lot of people thought it might. I had my doubts from the start, but not here to try to speculate on why Luka's not, enjoying his time playing basketball right now. But how do you think this affects the tail end of the season, the playoffs, if they're able to get in, and then moving forward with Dallas?
Okay. So how I think it affects Dallas right now. First of all, I want to really quick. I want to just address Luca and not having fun. I think it's from having a coach who was a former player who's probably being like holding him accountable a little bit for the way he's playing.
Fair?
They've took it real far last year, and I think now you say you want to win a championship, and I think that Jason Kidd has come out and like publicly called out Luca. He's
That's
publicly
good
called
point.
out the whole team. He's holding them accountable. So I think now, and then you're not winning.
Yeah,
You're winning, but you're not winning. Like they're basically splitting games. So it's just I think that's one of the things. Things have come to him very easy in his short time in the league so far. It
yeah,
seems like he got in the league. He's immediately All NBA. He's immediately an All Star. He's immediately all these things. Immediately to the conference finals.
yeah.
Very quickly. He's like a playoff legend in his second season, and I think things came to him easy. And this is his first time he's really seeing some real controversy or
Absolutely.
yeah, what's the word? Yeah, controversy.
Adversity.
So I said controversy, adversity. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Yeah, and controversy. But
yeah, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
I think that's a big part of it is that he's being coached a little bit now, and things are coming. Things are kind of difficult for him right now down the stretch of the season. As far as with him and Kyrie, it's weird because they it's been bad, but it's not been bad. They have Kyrie's played pretty well,
Yeah,
but
it
they're not
hasn't been.
defending. They
Yeah,
can't stop anyone. They
I mean,
have
neither one of
they
them are
have
defenders.
yeah. Neither of them are real like defenders that you're like okay, this guy's gonna shut you down on that end, or he's gonna be just. Neither of them you would consider two-way players. They're both scorers,
Correct.
you know. And with Dorian Finney-Smith out the door, all these other guys like they send out. That was their best defender, and
Yeah,
and he was pretty long and lengthy too, so he helped them to protect the rim. Guys are just getting to the basket on them. Everybody's just getting straight to the rim on them, straight line drives, and it's coming from the top. Those two guys we're talking about, they're breaking them down off the top, and then everything breaks down after that.
yeah,
So that's what the situation is. As far as how it's going to affect the playoffs, I don't. I think they still have a chance. Like Oklahoma City, I haven't looked at their schedule, but I don't think their schedule is too tough. And they've been playing much better than Dallas in
Yeah.
this second half of the season since the All-Star break. So I don't know if they're even going to affect it. The only thing they're really affecting right now is the Knicks draft position because from the via Porzingis trade, we have their pick this year. But you know what it is? It's top 10 protected. And right now
Mm,
they're like projected at 10. So
got you.
that's the only thing that's really affected. I don't think if they get into the playoffs that they're going to do anything because
I
they can't
agree.
stop anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to follow up your point, strength of schedule remaining. The Mavs have what's this? The eighth easiest schedule down the stretch. They've got
Okay.
the Bulls once, they got the Spurs once. They play Atlanta, Miami, the aforementioned Sacramento. While OKC has the 11th toughest. They play Memphis. They got
Oh wow,
Phoenix.
yeah.
They got Golden State. So I mean, yeah, I'm with you. OKC, I feel like they're gonna find a way to get into the playoffs or to stay in the
They're a
playoffs.
gritty team, yo.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that roster a lot. They got good young players.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like
And
I
then
said, I wrote that article about the Knicks too, and I was saying
yep.
how going to win, trying to win is part of development. There are people that will say that like Oklahoma City, they're like struggling, fighting to get into the play. These guys are playing for something
Yeah.
still down the stretch of the season. So that's something to teach your players. Like teach them how to go out there, what it takes to win.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean, face it. I mean, losing isn't fun. So, there was a point in time when Dallas was sitting at like the 5 or 6 seed or something like that, and they've plummeted. So, you don't get to the pinnacle of basketball by being a loser. So, of course, I know people will they'll talk about your motives. Is it money? Is it winning? Is it championships? Is it stature? Is it to be able to go out and get special treat? Like, but you don't get to this point by being a loser. Like these
No,
guys want to win games, and
yeah,
for all intents and purposes, like Luka's been a successful player, whether it was overseas and then his short time here, like you said. Just last year, they're in the Western Conference Finals. So it's like,
yeah,
we bring in Kyrie. Obviously there's some changes to the roster and the whole nine. Jalen Brunson leaves, the whole nine. But losing's not fun, So
it's not.
it makes
That's
sense
really
that,
simple as that. It's as
yeah, it
simple as
makes
that.
sense
Yeah,
that Luka's like, yeah, like I'm not enjoying myself
yeah.
because we're not where we were, this time last year. We're nowhere near
Yeah.
where we were at that time.
To the
Um,
fans' defense and the people who are creating these narratives, like reporters as well, Kyrie assisted in him being the scapegoat to this whole thing because it's like
yeah.
Kyrie comes with so much. Every
Mm-hmm.
press conference, he's given the reporters an entire page of things to write about and
Yep.
stuff like that outside of basketball. So that's going to be draining on people, or at least reporters are going to report that it could probably be draining on them because Kyrie, this charismatic figure, this worldly man who is so much more than just a basketball player. Like that
Yep.
comes the weight of that could be taking the fun out of this team,
Possibly.
And then
Very
with
possibly.
Kyrie came this expectation of immediate winning. Nobody on earth thought that Kyrie was going to land in Dallas and they were going to get worse. You were like, okay, I don't know how it's going to work. We didn't know how it was going to work, but nobody thought that they were going to be like below 500,
Yeah.
probably about to miss the playoffs, the play
Yeah.
in. Nobody thought that when they got him, they were like a fifth seed.
Yep.
So, and I know it's a tight race in the West. We're going to get to that later, but geez, man, I did not think it was going to get here. I didn't. I thought maybe they slip a couple games trying to figure out how to play with one another, but I did not think that they were going to tank completely down out of the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And we'll, like you mentioned, we will get into playoff predictions and things like that moving forward. But yeah, at some point, I one thing that I didn't think about that I really find intriguing was your point about Jason Kidd really holding these kids, holding Luka and company accountable, because that is a very good point. Because if you, for all intents and purposes, it was Luka's team. They gave him the franchise and said, "Here you go." And Luka could kind of do what he wants on and off the court. Not that he was doing anything bad, but just no accountability, like you said. But now it's like, all right, Luka, you want to win, you want to be a champion. These are the things that you need to do in order to be a champion. And it's not just going out there and dribbling the air out the ball for 20 seconds and then taking a step back three. Like, we need you to do X, Y, and Z to make sure not only you are doing what you're supposed to do, but also the other 9 players, the other 4 players on the court are doing what they need to do. Yeah. So that's an interesting point, and I think that could be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that he's in an adjustment period right now. I mean, the kid's 23 years old, 24.
He's so young, man.
It's so crazy. But he's been a pro since he was 15. Like, I mean, they're mirroring the image of the NBA and all those European championship leagues and stuff. He came from a Spanish league. Yep. He was living by himself when he was a teenager, 15 years old, playing professional basketball. So he's been a pro for a long time. He was a pro for 3 years before he came here.
Which is crazy, yeah.
Which is crazy. So he came here when he was 18. So it's wild to think. But I think that it's an adjustment period, because when he goes there, he's 15. He's just this like prodigy. He's a wonder boy. But that team probably had leadership. They have veteran players, guys. And those club teams in Europe, there's dudes who played 20-something years. It's a whole bunch of Udonis Haslems out there. You know what I mean? On those teams.
Yeah.
So guys who are just on the team. So he didn't have to lead. He just had to go out there and be great, which is what he's great at doing. But I think when Brunson leaves, who I think was you see that when Luka didn't play those first games against the Jazz of the first round, they didn't skip a beat.
Yes.
And now you see Jalen Brunson has taken that and moved it to the Knicks. You see that there's a leadership factor that Luka just had to go out there and be great last year. This year, more of the leadership aspect of being a championship player was on him. Verbal leadership, leading by example, getting everybody. Everybody knows he can hoop, but I think that this was the first time in his long but short basketball career that he was being asked to like lead your team, like with every aspect of the game. Every aspect of the game, like lead your team on and off the floor. And I think it's just a challenge for him right now. And this eventually, 10 years from now, we look back at this and we're going to say it was just a part of Luka's career. And I still think he gets a championship or 2 after this, no matter what.
Just a part of his growth.
Year, but he going to get one. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a part of the growth. And we'll wrap this up. I mean, that's the gift and the curse of being a top draft pick. Like, more than likely, you're going to a team that doesn't have a leader or doesn't have the structure. You're going there to be the savior, in a lot of cases. So and another point to that is there's a chance that that's not who Luka is. Like, maybe he's not a leader. And I truly don't mean that in like a disrespectful way. Like, maybe he's not that verbal leader. Maybe, we see it on the court. Like, he's getting these technical fouls. He's always, John with the referees. Like, maybe you need that Jalen Brunson type of person to grab him and be like, yo, Luka, like, it's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need you on the court. We can't have you getting that 16 technical and being out next game. You know what I'm saying? So now everything is kind of on him. Like, we need you to be the leader. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. And, maybe he just might not be that guy. And, that's also on Jason Kidd to kind of figure out, how do we get the best out of Luka, and, what role he plays within the team aside from just being a great basketball player.
Nice. I like it.
So this guy I feel like he's in the news every week at this point, and it's always Dame Lillard. Love him as a player, but just recently, it's just this constant like recycling of loyalty versus championships, and
Yeah.
you better not let me win, and I don't want to be a part of a rebuild. And it's just like, are we shutting Dame down for the rest of the season and blah blah, just constantly every week it's something with Dame Lillard. It does seem as though his time may be running out in Portland, whether it's on him or on the franchise to who makes the decision to move on. He can be traded this year after July 9th. So after the playoffs and the whole nine, July 9th, Portland can trade him. If they decided to go that route, is there somebody that you would like to see him playing for?
We talked about it earlier. Brooklyn. I like this team. I think that Brooklyn has the picks to get him, right? Because Portland's going to want a haul. They have a Dinwiddie, so you can swap the position. The contract's not going to get there, but then they have other veterans like Patty Mills and Joe Harris and some of these other guys they can throw in that they've given big contracts before. They can throw Finney Smith in there. I think Finney Smith just got an extension. Like, throw anybody in there to get him, and then the 3 first-round picks, maybe 4 that it's going to take to get him, and then get that done. Pair him with Mikal Bridges, who's now proven that now that he's not a third option or fourth option, that he can play. Yep. so we know he can play now. I mean, he's averaging like 26 since he's gotten to Brooklyn.
He's been incredible.
And he's been the number one. He's been incredible. 26, I think, 6 and 5 or something like that. He's averaging. Like, ridiculous. Those are all NBA numbers.
Yeah.
And that's since February when he got there. So I really like that acquisition. Cameron Johnson, that's a good place to start. I don't know what's up with Josh Vaughn and Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas, when they first made the KD and Kyrie trade, he was scoring 40 points a night for like a week straight. And now he can't even see the floor. It's something, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but he's an interesting piece too. Got to see where they go with Ben Simmons or what he does with his life. But maybe that's a destination you can send him. The money matches up. Maybe Portland is out of the limelight enough that Ben could exhale and just I think he's done. But that's another conversation for another day. Yeah, but Brooklyn is where I like him a lot. The other team, and last night I found out just how bad they need an offensive influx. The Miami Heat. If you compare him, Jimmy, with Bam, they're probably gonna have to. Miami probably got to send Hero with that. And then again, so Kyle Lowry, I think, might be on an expiring contract, and then you send some future picks. But that team, you get Dame, Jimmy, and Bam together, that threesome, and put anything else around it, maybe just a little bit more shooting, that team could get to the finals right away. That, to me, I truly – because that's 3 straight-up dogs. Like dogs. So those are my 2 – I think Dame's got to get to the East. That's my point. He's got to get to the East, and he's got to pair with another superstar. The last place, if it's not the East, find your way down the coast to LA, to the Lakers, and hook up with LeBron.
I know that was a conversation in the offseason that I guess they were talking or whatever. LeBron and Dame, that is. Honestly, I don't care. I'm so tired of talking about Dame Lillard. And again, as a player, I love his game. And I want him to win a championship because of how loyal he's been to Portland. Like, I don't think he's not going to win in Portland. And honestly, not that he's old, he's 32, but I don't see him being the best player on a championship team. So when you say Miami, it would either be him or Bam. But I think that supporting cast would be good enough to make a run at a championship. Right. The top end of the East is elite at this point.
Elite. Boston, Milwaukee, Philly,
yeah,
Cleveland.
So I don't care if he ends his career in Portland or if he goes someplace else. I just want I'm just tired of this conversation. So kind of what prompted this was his interview earlier in the week where I think one of the journalists or whatever was
Kevin Garnett.
Well, yes,
Well,
but like
they
the
did that show, but
conversation,
then it was another. Yeah.
yeah, the conversation. No, this is like post game, and somebody asked him
Okay.
about like a rebuild. Like, you guys have good pieces in place for like the future. And Dame was kind of like, not like I'm not looking to be a part of a rebuild. And it's like, bro, like that's kind of what your career has been in
Yeah.
Portland. Like, you've had a few short
They
playoff
had.
runs, you've had
Yeah.
big moments in the playoffs, but like it's been
It's
kind
always
of
been
a
rebuilding,
revolving door
retooling,
of, yeah.
trying to
So
find guys to play with you. And when him and CJ and Nurkic and that little
it
trio
was a
got
good
together,
team.
that was their run. What,
Yeah.
2016, 17, 18? That was a good run that they had. They were competing with Golden. I mean, it was during the Golden State year.
Yeah.
So his peak years was CJ coming on in his like third, fourth, fifth, sixth year, but
Yep.
it was during the Golden State years. So it's not that they sucked. It's
Yeah.
that they weren't that good. They weren't good enough to play against
Exactly.
4 Hall of Famers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's the truth of the matter. So again, if Dame is going to continue to preach loyalty, which is fine. I have no problem with that. We've talked about it on this show. Like,
Yeah.
if he's in Portland and he loves Portland and the Pacific Northwest, and that's just where he wants to be, cool. But like,
Do it.
let's stop like the flip flop and the, I don't want to be a part of a rebuild. Like, just stop
Yeah.
that conversation is really
Stop
all that I'm
answering
getting
those
to.
questions like that. Yeah. Stop answering those questions like that because if you don't, you're saying you don't want to be a part of a rebuild, but then if you don't want to be a part of a rebuild, you got to be the bad guy and say out loud. I mean, that's the first time that I mean, he said it as much behind closed doors and he's kind of hinted at it, but that's the first time he really said it out loud. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not here
yeah,
for that. But you're also saying that, and you're not saying that I'm not here for that. Get me the hell out of here.
yeah.
That's what he needs to say. And this is similar. I compare it to the Aaron Rodgers thing that's going on with Green Bay and the Jets and all that. Look, Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, nobody wanted to be the bad guy. Green Bay's like, now their GM's coming out saying, well, we didn't even talk to Aaron. We tried to reach out,
Yeah.
but we couldn't even get a hold of him. And Aaron comes out, he's like, yeah, I haven't had any conversation with him, but I want to go to the Jets. And that's how it is. Dame is over like, I don't want to be in a rebuild, but I love Portland and everything, and I'm just fine here. Yo, stop half stepping. Tell them what time it is and get out of there because you've given them more than enough. You've given them 12 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you've given them 12 years, 3 separate contracts. Like they haven't brought in adequate talent. They tried. They brought in CJ on the draft. That was good. They brought in Carmelo Anthony too late, but that's good. They've missed some opportunities to acquire guys. They brought the Jeremy Grant thing in. That didn't work. Then they're trying a lot of stuff, but it's not working. You have to take charge of your career, take charge of your legacy, and say, "Yo, it's been a good run, yo. Like this is nothing personal, but I think I do want this championship right now." But like you said, if he cool, don't stop saying that you don't want to be a part of a rebuild, but you're also cool with staying here. Like if you're cool with staying here, you're a part of the rebuild. That's what it is. Both things can't be true in this situation. Yes. You either want to get out of here and win, or you want to stay and be part of the rebuild. Because that's what it is. A team like that, a market that small, an organization like the Blazers, they have to build it slow and steady. And that's 100%, just a fact, 100%. Man. You want to win right now? Go to LA, go to Miami, go to Dallas, go to New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, a superstar in more than any other sport, a superstar in the NBA can force his way out. Like if he wanted to get out of Portland, he could get out of Portland.
He could bang off.
So again, that's my rub at this point, to echo everything that you're saying. It's just the fact that you're sitting here, you're preaching loyalty, but then you don't want to be a part of a rebuild when clearly when your team is sitting at like the 11th seed or something in the West, that the team needs to rebuild. So either be a part of that and be a mentor to these guys and obviously continue to play at a high level, but understand that your window for a championship in Portland is quickly closing. So either be a part of the rebuild and try to get a championship in Portland, or stop talking about, your loyalty and your your status in Portland, because again, it's just getting annoying at this point that he's constantly in the news about the same topic. It's not even
same topic.
It's not even like
anything new.
Yeah,
nothing new.
We gotta do something about it.
We get it. You're loyal, but you're not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I guess that's what you're trying to tell us. You're loyal, but like, nah, I want to get out of here. But I don't want to get out of here. Like, I'll stay, but I want to get out of here.
So speaking of teams that are, as of right now, Portland's not eliminated. So the fact that they're talking about shutting them down, again, I think that says something about where
don't get hurt before you get traded.
Thinks. Yeah. So we've been talking about the parity in the West for weeks now. And I want to get your thoughts on the playoffs. We're getting very close. I think most of these teams have 5-6 games left in the regular season. And we have teams that are fighting to get into the playoff or the play-in. We have teams that are fighting to try to get out of the play-in and into the playoffs. So I just want to get your thoughts on, how things kind of shake out over the last week or so of the season. So we'll start in the Eastern Conference. Who makes it? Who just misses? And do you think, when you get into that play-in, are there any of those teams? Are they capable of upsetting one of the higher seeds?
Okay, so in the Eastern Conference, Miami's sitting there at 7, right? They're an interesting team. They have these great players, but they also have like serious issues producing points. Like, they're the lowest scoring team in the league.
Yep.
They're really slow, methodical, half-court offense. That's how Spoelstra wants to do it, and that's just the way they play. But that has hurt them in the regular season, but that's a benefit in the playoffs because every possession matters so much. They're efficient per possession. They just don't have a lot of them because they're playing out every single possession. So that's that's not a modern NBA way to play, but I think it's a way that can if they stay in that 7 or if they pick up Brooklyn and get to 6, that's something that can give Boston and Philly both serious issues. Because Boston and Philly are two teams that like to go in transition. Philly more than Boston can play in the half court because they can just drop it down to Embiid down low and say, go get us a bucket. But Boston really doesn't have that kind of a post player. Like Tatum, yes, he can work out of the post, but he's not like a dominant post player like Joel Embiid who can really just get you something easy any possession you want. So
real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Embiid did not play in that game against Denver and Jokic. Do you think that's a nail in the coffin for his MVP hopes?
If I had a vote, then Jokic just won his 3rd MVP. That's what I'll say about that. Because that's it for me. Look, Embiid has his defense. He was grimacing last night, but he had 25. Okay? Mm-hmm. He was grimacing last night, and he had 25. So he's been playing with pain this entire time. He played in the All-Star game. He had pain. He's been playing through the pain, okay? Sit out one of those games the night before. They had played back-to-back, and they were working on it was a makeup game or something like that. So it was going to be a back-to-back-to-back. He played the previous 2 nights in Phoenix, and I think, I forget where, Phoenix and Utah or something like that. Mm-hmm. The previous nights. Sit one of those games out. Like, are you kidding me? This is the matchup that you –
That's what everybody wanted to see.
This is the matchup. Yeah. This is what everybody wanted. This is what all the voters were watching. They had a huge they were talking about increase in media credentials for that game because anybody with a MVP vote was going to go to that game. They wanted to see them head to head, and you sit out. So, like I said, if I had a vote, that's it. And Jokic balled out.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? In your absence. So, and they won. So that was it. But yeah, man, that bothered me a little bit. Because I know Embiid's better. He's great. But we're talking about value and who's more valuable. And you see it. I didn't see what you meant to your team that day.
And I'm definitely going to let you get back to your point. It's one of those things where it's really not a rational like argument, because if you thought Embiid was the MVP front runner prior to that game, him not playing that one game shouldn't sway you that much. But
they were tied, in my opinion. It wasn't a front runner. They were even as they get.
Yeah, you're dealing with people, and immediately everybody's thoughts went to, oh, Embiid doesn't want the smoke, and
I don't think that.
I don't think that either. Like, I do think he was legitimately hurt and like couldn't
Me too.
play.
I know he's hurt. He's been injured all this entire second half of the season.
Yeah,
but it's been a pain threshold thing.
But again, when you're dealing with people, the optics is you didn't want to play against Jokic, So I'm with you. I do think that that's gonna.
He should know that. Yeah, he should know that. That like, yo, this is the game. All right, we got 3 straight games. I'm gonna play one, sit one, play one.
Yeah,
and this is the one I'm gonna play. Like, it was the last. Excuse me, the last game of their road trip. Yo, you gotta be there.
Yeah.
Not because I don't think he's running him. We know he's hurt. But it's because that if he comes out hurt and puts 30, 15, and 6 on him, and they pull off a road win because of you, that is a nail in the coffin for the MVP vote. You say you want it, that was it.
Yeah.
And don't come out here crying in next month or whenever they're giving out the award, saying like, oh, they want to do. Nah, you had your opportunity. Like you said, how people are. They were looking for at that game. Like, who's the next closest guy to beat? I want to give it to him, but he's playing Jokic on this day, and Jokic's been really good this year too. Let's see who wins. Embiid got him last time. Let's see, if he can get him again. If he gets him
Embiid dominated too in the first
him in the first game. So that's what I'm saying, yo. Yeah. Come out and show out on this dude and lock that thing up, and then sit out the next couple games.
Yeah. But sorry, get back to your point.
We're
talking about the East and who we think gets in and any potential upsets.
So Miami is a team, like I said, from the 7 or 6 spot, playing Boston or Philly. They can really make some noise. I won't even bring up the Knicks. That's a 4-5. It's not really an upset, but I think they can beat the Cavs in a realistic world. And the play-in the East is really it's really interesting because it features 4 teams that were at the top of the East last year. In Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, and Chicago. These are all 4 of them were top 5 seeds last year, which is crazy. So you gotta. Atlanta is Atlanta, right? They have they have talent, but it's just been weird with them this year.
Yeah, all year.
They already dumped a coach. Now they got Quinn Snyder in there. Allegedly, he wants them to play harder defense, but they gave up a 20-point lead the other night against Cleveland, and it's crazy what's going on there. So I think they have the talent to get somebody, but it's gonna be tough. They got any of these teams playing at their best. Like if Atlanta is playing at their best, can they knock off Boston in the first round? Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, I think firstly, I think the East is set in terms of the teams. I think it's just a matter of seeding at this point. I don't think Orlando, Indiana, or Washington's going to sneak in.
Indiana, Washington are out. They're like 2 games out. So I don't think they're going to get in.
I don't see any of them sneaking in.
We'll see. Indiana and Washington got the Knicks, and the Knicks might be sealed by then. So they might be playing backups. Okay. And then we'll Toronto and Chicago got to keep playing. So we'll see what happens.
But again, we've been talking about it for weeks. The top half of the East has been dominant all year. So yes, I do understand that the teams that are currently in the play-in were much better last year, but there's a reason why they're in the play-in this year. So I personally don't see any big upsets in the East unless there's an injury, and knock on wood, hopefully we don't get any of that. So yeah, I think the East is kind of set, and I think it's not until we get into the second, third, later rounds in the playoffs that we have the potential for a quote upset.
I love it.
What about the West? The West, again, I mentioned it earlier. The
pandemonium.
Yeah, there still could be a lot of movement within the
Who
play-in,
knows?
but also, the bottom half of the playoffs currently.
Who even
What do
knows
you
who's
think?
going to get in this thing? I don't
Yeah, we
know.
don't.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, from 4 to 12, it's 4 games
Yeah,
separating them from four
yep,
to 12. So from home court advantage in the playoffs to
yes,
out of the playoffs by 2 slots is separated
yes.
by 4 games. That is how crowded it is in this West. In the play-in, they all got the same record. Everybody's 38 and 38. And then OKC's 38 and 39. And then Minnesota's 39 and 38. But it's just, and then Golden State is like, they just played last night. That's how this happened. Golden State won. They came back and won. But they were last night number 7. So it's changing daily
Yes.
by the hour.
Yes.
It's really wild. I'm telling you, I wanted to bring up this point. This is why I put this in the notes. Because there's a lot of talk on Twitter about people hating the play-in and talking down on the play-in. This is incredible.
Yes.
In years
No,
past, we would be watching G League players right now because everything's starting to get ironed out. Guys start sitting out right now. The awards are won. Incentives are hit. There's 5-6 games left in the year. Guys are resting. But you know what's going on right now? Because the play-in, there's only 3 teams in each conference that have clinched, 4 in the East, 3 in the West that have clinched.
that are eliminated. Yeah.
That
are
clinched.
Yeah.
Clinched playoff stuff. So and there's only there's 5-6 games for everybody left in the season. So you're looking at this like, man, we're down to the last few games, and like for a few teams in years past, this would mean something. For the West alone, this means something for 10 teams. Sacramento, I don't think they can still catch up to Memphis, but I don't think they will. Denver's pretty far ahead in first. They're going to run away with the 1 seed in the West. But after that, Phoenix at 4, and the Clippers at 5. They're basically in the tie. The Golden State at 6. They're just a game behind the Clippers. Half a game, excuse me. And then Minnesota, half a game behind them. LA, half a game behind them. New Orleans, tied with LA. Oklahoma City, half a game behind them. It's insane. And then Dallas and Utah, both half games behind OKC for that last play-in. And that's what I'm saying. The play-in is an opportunity to get to the playoffs that extends beyond the season. Like, you can't say that that's for nothing. And for a team like OKC, that is good. They had the 2nd pick in the draft last year. And now they're flirting with making the playoffs. Look at Sacramento. They weren't flirting with the play-in last year. This year, they're a 3 seed. It means something to these players in their development, especially for young teams. That play-in is huge. I love it.
Yeah, I'm with you. The play-in, I'm not going to echo everything that you said, but 100%. Like, at this point, there's only a handful of teams that have been officially eliminated from playoff contention. So the fact that and those are the teams like Houston where they have like 20 wins on the
Charlotte,
season. You know
Detroit.
what I'm saying? Yeah. So the fact that all of these teams they're in it longer, up until the last week of the season, I think that just makes for great basketball. And again, you have somebody like Portland that we talked about, who's maybe 2 or 3 games out of the play-in. Like, you get hot and a couple teams like, next thing you know, you're in the play-in and you have a chance to make a run. And that it's good for the game, in my opinion.
These guys are pro athletes, man. They want that chance to run because they feel like, if I get hot, we can beat anybody. That's how they feel. Again,
like, there's always going to be circumstance. Like, I know earlier I was like, there's a reason why they're in the play-in, or there's a reason why you're on the outside looking in. But part of that reason could be an injury. Like, a key cog in your team was hurt for the beginning portion of the season, now you're starting to get healthy.
Perfect example. When Zion Williamson got hurt, New Orleans was the 2nd seed in January. They were the 2 seed. They are now the 9. And because of the play-in, they're still in it. And Zion is expected to come back next week with their final 2 games. And think about it. But that's what I'm saying. Think about it. When he left, he was averaging 26 and 8.
Yeah.
If you're bringing 26 and 8 back into your rotation going into the playoffs. Yeah. Like this is important. Guys where normally guys were shut down, they're saying, yo, come on, we can get you back. And if we get you back, we can beat anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just great for the game. You get look at a guy like SGA having an all NBA level year. And his team was not 10 games above 500, but now he's gonna get a chance to go in and in the play a 9-10, probably against New Orleans or maybe the Lakers, and take on LeBron and they already beat LA in LA.
They sure did.
The night when LeBron broke that record.
Yep.
So look, if he goes in there, has one of his nights where he goes to 35 and 5 rebounds, 5 assists, like that, it's going to be hard to overcome. And he can do that. He's been doing it nightly. So I just, like I said, I love the player, man. It adds that opportunity for upsets, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm with you totally on all of that. So I want to get into a couple of things. So I know I was gonna call you an avid gambler, but I feel like that's like a bad connotation.
Nah, I know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
I mean, I'm with you. It adds a little bit of juice to the game. Obviously we love sports, but you got a little bit of money on it. You're sweating a little bit. It adds a little bit to the game, to the viewing experience. The flip side of that is these guys or these people who will go out and put thousands of dollars on a bet, on a parlay, on a player, whatever the case is, and then when it doesn't hit, get mad about it. Bradley Beal, Washington Wizards, had an interaction with a fan after a game in Orlando, and basically a fan confronted him, was like, hey, you effed me on my bet because he didn't score enough points or whatever the case is. And Bradley Beal, I think the report says he knocked
this phone over.
Yeah. And he's like, I don't care about your bet. I don't care about you gambling or anything like that. Like, I'm here to play basketball. I'm here to win games. I would tend to agree that we both believe Bradley Beal wasn't necessarily in the wrong. But how, with gambling becoming more and more legalized, do you think we're going to see an increase in like these interactions? And how do you, or what's the fix? Like, how do we get around this so that we're not having these types of interactions?
I think that you don't. I think the players just got to get some thicker skin. It's a part of the game now, man. It's a part of the game. Part of your check is getting paid by FanDuel and DraftKings and all them because the promos are on the court. The promos are everywhere in the arena. They about to start putting kiosks in the arena. Watch. I mean, I'm telling you, man.
Pre-game, they got Chuck and Kenny talking about, Embiid over 10.5 rebounds, like lock it in.
Yeah. I was just at MSG the other day. When I walked into MSG, it was a Caesars Sportsbook ad on the Jumbotron with the over and under for the game and the spread. So, I mean, it's a part of the game. Players just got to get used to it. Like, that's just fans. It's the same as fans heckling and stuff like that. Like, yo, come on, man. You only have 15, really? Why don't you shoot that three? Like, yo, just let that go. It's a part of the game. On the flip side, though, that fan's an idiot. Bradley Beal ain't been even doing numbers like that this year. So, I learned back in, like, December, get off Bradley Beal, Kuzma, and Porzingis are the guys to bet on Washington for over points. Every time it's Kuzma and Porzingis. That's who you want to go with. You're foolish. It's your own fault. But then he deserved to get his phone broken because, yo, this is a grown man. And they had just lost, I think, too. Yeah. So he was heated. Don't stop messing with these grown men, yo. Y'all think because there's that little hollowed bar, wrought iron division between you and the stands
like
of the court.
You can't get slapped up.
Yeah. Bradley Beal, he from St. Louis. He put them paws on you, boy.
Man. It's like I honestly get both sides. From Bradley Beal's point of view, forget you, bro. Like, I'm out here. I'm a professional playing professional basketball. Like, of course I want to score 30 points a game. Like if I can't, like, you know what I'm saying? So like you coming at me and being like, yo, like, bro, what are you doing? Like you stink. You couldn't get 28. Like, yeah, because I'm going up against some of the best defenders in the world. Like, so like,
shut up.
and then the loss on top. Like, I get that part of it. From like the fans' perspective, it's called gambling. Like to me, it's like you're not gonna go to the casino, bet on black, and then when it's red, you get mad at the dealer. Like, yo, bro, like I just put a G up and you didn't roll a like.
Yeah,
come on, like it's gambling. Like there's a certain amount of risk that you're taking with when you place the bet.
With points parlays, you can't get mad, man. So these guys, they just have nights. We think because you look at like, oh, they're averaging 24 points a game. They're like, it's a guaranteed 20 points.
Exactly.
No, that's the average, bro. Do the math, man. There's more that you got to look into than that.
Yeah.
I don't just ever bet. I'm like, oh, he's going to score 20 because he averaged 25. Like, nah, what did he play like the last time that he played this team?
Exactly.
Well, how many points did he have in the last time he played his team? How many points did he have in his last 5 games? I look at mad stuff when I'm betting on just one single person for 4 assists or 6 assists or 20 points. You'd be shocked at the amount of studying that I do, amount of searches on the internet I have for just that one thing.
I think what people need to understand is that Vegas wasn't built on us winning. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Vegas was built on the backs of people losing bets. And when it comes to the sports book, when that's their job. So their job is to go, Bradley Beal is to go and look at Bradley Beal, what he's done the last 5 games, what he's done in his last 5 matchups against Orlando, what he does on the second night of a back-to-back, what he does on 2 nights of rest, what he
all
does
of that,
what he does,
all the factors,
what he does on Wednesdays in November, like
what he does in Denver, every little thing.
There's so much and that's why people are like, oh, it's fixed when the over-under is 182 and 182 and a half and the final score is 182. And it's like, no, it's because these guys or these people, they know because they like their job. You go to work for 8, 9, 10 hours a day or whatever it is. They put in 8, 9, 10 hours a day studying each and every one of these people to come up with a line. So exactly, it's gambling. They're not just we need to relax.
Totals.
Yeah,
they know this is a science. They're like, oh, so the last time they played, I'm telling you, then you can hold 2 scores up against each other from the same 2 teams from 2 different games. And I'm telling you, the over-under for each of those games, whether it hit or didn't hit, it'll be within a point and a half at most. Every single time. Like, they don't blow it out of the water. And if they did, it's because that's sports, and sometimes dudes play terrible. Exactly. And it was just like, sometimes that's the thing. They're so good at picking this stuff is that's how it is. Like, they really just, they don't miss.
They don't.
They're the best.
They don't.
We got to beat them. That's the thing.
That's what it is.
You're nice at gambling if you're like a 70% hitter. Like, literally, if you're a
70% hitter, you're phenomenal.
That's a professional. I think 30 is even good.
Yeah.
Like if I put in 3 bets and win 1, I'm hyped.
Yes.
For real. I'm like, 33.3%. Talk to me nice.
You're in the Hall of Fame in baseball.
Straight up. Batting average crazy.
So speaking of Bradley Beal putting his paws on people, I got to talk about this Mikey Williams clip. For those who don't know, Mikey Williams, high school player,
huge NIL deal, already richer than us.
Oh, he's got Who did he commit to? Kentucky?
Is it Kentucky? I thought it was like No, it's not one of the Cali schools. I don't even see. I don't even know.
Whatever. But he's had like a cult following on social media for years. Just tremendous bounce. Like a bunch of highlight. Like he's a very good player. And granted, like I've never watched a Mikey Williams game, but I've seen clips, and he's a very good player. The other day, Ball is Life put out a clip of this man coming down the lane, 1-2, take off, dunks on this poor kid who took
Oh.
the charge. The dunk didn't count, but takes off, dunks on him. As he's coming down, he's screaming in this kid's face, probably, and what? Screaming in his face, like standing over him.
Walked over him.
Walks over him, steps on his hand, and
like
nobody
vertically.
did
Hold
anything.
on, you gotta tell him. You gotta tell the fans. He didn't just walk over him like step horizontal, like his body was laying this way. He walked
Bro, yes.
over him.
Yeah. Bro.
Like his vertical length of his body. From his toes
exactly.
to over his head. Everything.
Bro, when I tell you
over his face.
Yes. When I tell you, I saw the video and like, all right, the kid who took the charge, he's on the ground. I get it. Like you kind of got to get your bearings. You got to get up. The fact that none of his teammates came over and pressed Mikey Williams, bro, I was mad for the player who took the charge, but I was just like, seriously. Yo,
y'all got my back.
I understand who he is and like he has this following, but nah, I feel like you got to put hands on him. I don't condone violence in the heat of the moment.
That's gotta be something. You gotta at least mush him in the back of the head,
something.
Or like
push him
mad hard to check. He gotta touch the wall, like something. Y'all gotta jack him up, grab him by the jersey. Like, yo, what's wrong with you? Like you gotta give him a mean face, like something, bro. Y'all, your man's is on the floor looking like dude from Friday. Like, yeah, why don't y'all help me? If I was y'all, I would have helped y'all. That's how it was. Well, grandmother gave me that chain. Like that's how he was looking. He was on the ground like that, just hurt, feelings hurt.
Yo.
But oh my god, and nobody came to his rescue, man. Y'all sorry for teammate. Sorry. Oh my goodness, yo.
Everybody,
I'm the type of person I'm gonna get up and get in his face myself. But while I'm on the 100%. Ground, there should be mad people heading over his direction.
100%, bro. Like everybody's gonna get got. Like if you're willing to be in the lane, you're gonna get dunked on, and that is fine. Like if you're willing to go out, I know there was a clip a few months ago about Bronny, and Bronny got crossed up and slipped, and it's like, bro, like if you're willing to take on a player and you're gonna go out there and play defense, you're going to get got. It's inevitable. That. So the fact that he got dunked on, that's one thing. Or again, it was a charge. But you get dunked on, okay. A dude gets hyped after dunking on somebody. Okay, like I get that. Like you get up, let's go. Yeah, like I'm no issue at all.
That was bro way excessive.
Bro, you're over me looking down, screaming in my face, you step on me? No, bro. No, you can't. I'm not gonna let that fly. I'm not gonna let that fly. You being my teammate, you're not gonna let that
I quit the AAU team. I quit. I'm off this team. I'm gonna go play for whoever the other AAU team in the area is. Cause I'm done with y'all. Y'all soft. And if this young man, if you see that, yo, get off that team. Them dudes ain't riding for you, bro. They soft, all of them. They ain't got no heart.
Soft, man. So they don't got no heart.
They ain't got no heart over
there. So to kind of wrap up, we've been talking about March Madness. I know we usually talk NBA, but March Madness has been phenomenal. And before we meet again, or before we're on next, we will have national champions in both the women's and men's leagues. So this weekend we have Final Four matchups. And I want to get your thoughts, your predictions this weekend and into the championship games next week. On the men's side, I've got UConn. Again, I've been riding with UConn the whole tournament.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Yep. I got UConn. And the other side, tough. It's a 5-9 matchup. But I'm going to ride with the Florida Atlantic team. Yeah. It's a toss-up for me, honestly, at this point. And I got UConn winning the championship. What about you?
It is. So I can agree with that, and I do think it's possible to happen, but everybody's sleeping on San Diego State because of the fashion in which they won last week. They're a legit team. They play defense at a high level, and they have like legitimate scores. Yeah, last week was a very physical game against Creighton. They did not call a lot of fouls until that last foul that they called. But don't be mistaken, this team is for real. San Diego State has has beaten some real people this year, and I think that they're going to get to the finals and take on UConn. UConn, the size, the size. I've been
Yeah,
telling everybody off air, the size is what's getting them, man. They have like Andre Jackson is essentially their point guard. He's 6'6". He can jump out of the gym. He's distributing, facilitating for everybody. The kids also all over the court. He's grabbing rebounds, second chance points. He's getting every rebound and taking up the floor and distributing, getting them out on the break. I love what he's doing. They're getting great guard play. And then the bigs, man. Udawa Sanogo and our guy from Bristol, Donnie Clingan. Donovan Clingan, man. This kid, he don't look like a true freshman out there.
At all.
He has arrived. The country knows about him now. Connecticut, stand up. UConn. They're going to get another one. This is number 5, right? Number 5 for them?
Do you have any concerns with the 3 UConn players who aren't going to be eating because of Ramadan?
Yeah, so look, it's only sun up to sundown, right? Sun up to sundown. The national championship get played like 9:30. So you get a good meal in you by then. Listen,
I mean,
the thing of when it comes to and I've had some Muslim friends in my life, and I know Muslim people too. When it comes to their level of discipline, that is what I admire about them the most. That is what Ramadan is all about. And listen, it's gonna be tough on them, but you gotta do what you gotta do, man. Like they've been playing through this their whole life. So
exactly,
I'd imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd imagine that they know how to handle these type of things. No food or water though from sun up to sundown. God, and then you gotta pray too while you're doing all that. Can you imagine praying and then you can't eat? Like you gotta pray all day, you can't eat.
I'd be a miserable person, bro. Like,
miserable.
I mean, again, there's like you could be busy and you forget to eat lunch or whatever, or you run out the house, you don't eat breakfast. Like that's one thing, but like going into the day, just being like, yo, when I wake up, I cannot eat. I'm gonna be irritable. Like, yo, Johnell, you ready for the game? Yo, bro, get up. Like, nah, man.
Nah, man, I'm going home.
Somebody over there, you drinking some Gatorade, ice cold Gatorade. You got a bacon, egg, and cheese, something. Like, I'm gonna be irritable. I'm not gonna lie.
You can't go anywhere. You just gotta I don't even know. Yeah, how would I couldn't live my life. I'd be calling out, bro. Like I can't go because if I go to get like a breakfast sandwich, I smell that bacon. I'm like, I can't go anywhere. I just gotta stay in the house. Stay in the house until the sun go down. For real.
What do we think about the women's side? The women's side, there was a report last week, the Iowa-Louisville game. I think they had 2-point-something million viewers of that game.
You called that game too. You called that game.
Yes.
Those are 2 of the most electric players in women's college.
100%.
And they put on a show too.
What I thoroughly enjoy about Caitlin Clark, and you've been talking about Caitlin Clark since the beginning of the tournament. She be talking junk, man, and I love it. Like to talk and then go out there and back it up, put up a 40-point triple double. Like I love that stuff.
A 40 ball in the Elite 8 for a triple double.
Bro.
And against one of the country's like best players.
Yes.
2 also at 25. Like it was crazy. I love it,
man.
That was crazy. Listen, my prediction.
Who do you got?
My prediction. I think that's going to be a closer game than South Carolina's played, but they're just too good. So I got South Carolina over Iowa, and then I got LSU. Man, it's a collision course. You know I love Angel Reese. You know I love my girl.
Reese, yes.
She's the only one who could truly play with them girls. She could truly play. She's got the physique. She's got the skills. She's a dominant player on the level of Zaya Cook and Leah Boston and all those girls. So she's a player who's on that level. Do I think Caitlin Clark is going to have a good game? Yes. Do I think that she could shock them? Yes. But and that's only because I don't think South Carolina has seen a player quite like her. But I also don't think Caitlin Clark has played against an entire team defensively like South Carolina. The size,
Dawn Staley got them playing incredibly, man.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great game, man. That's going to be awesome tomorrow. I truly can't wait. I truly can't wait. But I need LSU to get through too. LSU's they're gonna have a fight too. But I think it's gonna be LSU, South Carolina, SEC and national championship. Book it.
Yeah, nah, this was tough. I was looking at it earlier, and I picked Iowa to win the national championship. So when I put together my bracket, I didn't have them beating South Carolina. I had South Carolina getting picked off a little
Oh
the round
wow.
previous. So
Wow.
my thought was it would be a much easier route for Iowa
Nah,
in
they
the
gonna have
Final
to earn
Four.
this one.
So
They got to earn this one.
I'm going to stick with Iowa in the championship just because that's who I picked. On the other side, I like LSU as well. But to see South Carolina LSU would be an incredible
So
game.
cool. So cool.
And again, we haven't even mentioned Virginia Tech. They're a very, very good team.
They're really, really good. And they've played so good in the tournament and
Yes.
basically flown under the radar
Yes.
because
They're a
all of
one
these
seed.
other
Yes.
yeah, all of these other teams have been putting on shows too, but they've kind of flown under the radar and just
Yeah.
dominated everybody. They haven't even played really a close game yet.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go, and I love Dawn Staley. So like to bet against her, I don't want to do, but for the sake of what I picked, I'm gonna go Iowa. I'm gonna say LSU, and I'm gonna say Iowa wins it.
If Iowa gets there against LSU, they will win it out. They'll win it all. If they get through this, ain't nobody stopping them. Because at that point, the weight of that win will just it'll carry them to the rest of the way. And I don't think that LSU. I don't know. I just don't think that they'll be able to stop the rain at that point. Like the momentum that they will have carrying into that game off of knocking off an undefeated team who everybody
Yeah.
said is walking to a national championship.
Yep.
And doing it behind the player who's just been named Naismith Player of the Year like a day ago.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would be special. She's been the most electrifying player all year in college basketball. Dawn even addressed it during the season. She was like, nobody's paying attention to us because it was like their old news, like defending champions. They just keep winning. It's like it was boring. So it was something to pay attention to. Caitlin Clark out here crossing you up. She's dishing, she's switching, she's doing it all. Like it was cool, man. I can't wait to watch that game. I'm cutting everything else off except for the Knicks cap. But I have that on a smaller TV, smaller screen. Big screen, the girls, you got it, ladies. You're getting the big screen from Matt Price.
I mean, this weekend it's just good basketball all around to round out March Madness. So I'm excited for all the games this weekend and the championship games early next week. So before we get out of here, Price, do you have a game of the week that we should be keeping an eye on, whether it's NCAA or the NBA, with about a week left in the season?
Yeah, so look, I looked through like the rest of the games of the season. Like I like some seasons, like before we come back next week, I like some stuff. But then I was like, you know what? None of these games are as important to me personally as Friday, March 31st, Knicks Cavs. That's your playoff matchup essentially. Knicks are in Cleveland. No Julius Randle. We might not have Jalen Brunson. It'll probably be a game time decision. Can they pull this thing off? They are 2 wins away from clinching and just locking this thing up and being in and solidifying their playoff spot. So that is the biggest game to me. So I'm giving it to y'all too. Pay attention.
Madison Square Garage tomorrow.
I think I'm gonna have to do it because it's a big game. It's a big game, and it's supposed to be nice out tomorrow too.
We will tune in. We will tune into that game tomorrow, and we'll tune in to the Final Four and the championship. And again, we're getting close. It's getting down to the time in the NBA season that matters the most, the playoffs, and it's going to be a wild ride. If the season is any indication, the playoffs are going to be incredible. So
I can't wait.
With all that said, let's get out of here, Cash. I know we got some basketball to watch tonight.
Oh yeah, Celtics Bucks tonight. I mean, y'all won't see this until the game is already over, but I'm saying that to you. That's about to pop off in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we're gonna tune in. And we're gonna sign off. Again, my name is Johnell. This is my guy, Cash Walking Matt Price. This is Heat Check powered by Designated Report. If you guys have anything, any comments, mention them down below. And yeah, we'll see you next week.